Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds number 59. So this is where I collect together all the new music that I've purchased over the past week and present it to you. And I get it from different places like my local record stores, but also online retail like Amazon, eBay, and more. And so for this particular past week, I've got 8 new music finds to go through with you, which breaks down as 5 new releases, 2 used, and 1 catalog album. But before we dive into that, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with New Music Finds, episode number 59. Okay, and as always, we start with brand new releases, and so I've got 5 of them here, all coming from Amazon, and the first 4 of these came from this past Friday, April 1st. And first one up, the big one, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Unlimited Love. So this is their 12th studio album, again produced by Rick Rubin. Of course, the last one produced by Danger Mouse, so they had veered away from Rick Rubin, who had produced, I think, everything from Blood Sugar Sex Magik forward until the last album. But this one also marks the return of guitarist John Frusciante, coming back in, taking over for Josh Klinghoffer, who actually replaced him back in, I guess, 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. And so John had been absent for the last 2 albums. He's returning on this one here. I've heard a lot of great things about the album. Some people aren't as into it as much. Personally, I see it as fitting right in with the Frusciante era, the Californication through to Stadium Arcadium era, so 1999 to 2009. I think if you like those 3 albums, and that's a period that they were much more into a melodic sound, the melodic rock mixed with the funk sort of stuff, more than what, of course, they had done earlier on in their career with even the early stuff, but Blood Sugar Sex Magik specifically, which was their other big, huge breakthrough album, and then, of course, in 99 with Californication, whatnot. But this album is a bit more mellow than some of the earlier albums, even the ones from 99 to 2009. But it's interesting because there's moments in the songs that it really rocks it out in the middle of it. So you still get those peaks, those highs within this, but oftentimes the songs start and end on a very mellow vibe. So if you don't really dive into the album, a lot of people might think that the album is more mellow than it is. And I would say if the album hasn't struck you yet, just from sampling it, give it a bit more time. It certainly has grown on me considerably with each listen. All right, next one up is the Altanova EP. And interesting, this thing has 10 tracks on it and clocks in, I believe, at 53 minutes. It's also 2 discs. So surprising that they would call this an EP. But the album from which it's coming is a double album that has 2.5 hours worth of music on it. So this thing here is considered a sampler, a warm-up to that album, which will be called The Life and Times of Eddie Gage. It is a concept album. And this thing here, you know, it does have elements of early Altanova on it. But like most releases from him, it's in an entirely different style or a new style and so forth. This is definitely a modern sounding Altanova album. And with it being the concept album, I mean, he's gone all out in terms of making this thing sound, you know, sort of big, bombastic, over the top, like you might expect from a rock opera. So I'm not totally sold yet on these 10 tracks that are here. Maybe if I hear them in the context of the full album, they'll make a lot more sense. I don't quite know how the flow of this is by comparison to what we're going to get with the double album later on. There's just a lot of variety. It's kind of all over the map. So instead of being able to settle into it like a great straight ahead rock album like his debut that you can see behind me there, this one here, it's, you know, 1 minute you're listening to some rock, then some modern rock, then you've got some Queen style stuff in there, you know, Broadway orchestration, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on, and it does make for an interesting listen. but it is different than what he's done in the past. But, you know, for what it is definitely worthwhile. I sort of see it as a full-length album. I mean, they can call it an EP, but it's an album. And if he wants to put out a deluxe version that's a 2-disc version of this later on, and I enjoy this, I'll probably pick that up too. All right, next one to talk about is new wave of British heavy metal band Satan, Earth Infernal, 6th studio album from these guys, and featuring Brian Ross on vocals, coming from Blitzkrieg. Always loved that he fronted these two bands. I like his vocals a lot, so when Blitzkrieg isn't doing something, usually Satan is, and vice versa. If you're a fan of either band and you don't know the other, do check it out. But I've always liked Brian Ross, and I actually prefer him in Satan. I think Satan is the better of the two bands. That's just my personal opinion. I definitely like these newer albums that Satan has been doing even better than the original stuff. This is one band that I think has gotten better with age. Each release is consistently stayed really high and strong, and so definitely liking this. And if you've enjoyed any of the last couple of releases that Satan has put out, I highly recommend this one here as well. All right, and the last one from April 1st, Pattern Seeking Animals, only passing through. This one here was the big surprise, the big shock for me. I wasn't sure that how much I would enjoy this one. I have enjoyed the last two albums because this is the 3rd studio album from this progressive rock band that features 3 members from Spock's Beard. And so if you're a fan of Spock's Beard, the newer version of Spock's Beard, you're definitely going to like this here. But I would say if you are a prog rock fan, you're gonna love this album. It is really good. This one here, just each song gets better and better on this thing. And this one here is got 2 bonus tracks on it, a 9th and a 10th track on here. So do make sure that you pick up the version that comes with the bonus tracks if you're a fan like me and you want to get a little bit of extra stuff. It makes picking this up really worthwhile. But you know, if you've been on the fence about checking out Pattern Seeking Animals, go check this album out. In fact, I think out of the 3, I like this one best here so far. Okay, now I've got a new release that came out back on March 11th, but I didn't know who the band was at the time, and I didn't really have any reason to check them out, even if I'd read something that might have told me who the band was. It is New Horizon, Gate of the Gods, and this is the debut studio album from a group that this here is power metal, but it's featuring Eric Gronwald, who is the new Skid Row singer, and he is formerly from the band Heat. Heat being a much more melodic rock style band, and I listened to Heat when I was trying to warm up for Eric's vocals that would be on the new Skid Row single, The Gang's All Here, which is now out. And so that was just too melodic for me, and I wanted to hear something a little heavier, and somebody recommended to me New Horizon. I went and checked it out. This is power metal, so still not what Skid Row does, but in the heavier vein, and it definitely was much more in line for what I was looking for at that time. The band itself also features current Heat member Jonah T on bass, guitar, and keyboards. So nice that it's pairing back up Eric Gronwald and Jonah T together, 2 Heat members there. But this is a different style than what Heat is, and it's a different style than what Skid Row is. So power metal here, great power metal if you like power metal. Also, if you're looking to check out more of what Eric does while we wait on the brand new Skid Row, which isn't due out, I believe, until October. All right, and then I got 2 used CDs this past week. First one up here comes from Academy Records and my visit there, doing one of my record store experience videos. Keith Richards and Vintage Winos from 2010. It is a compilation of 14 tracks, and Keith Richards, Rolling Stones guitarist, kind of what more needs to be said. It's all really good stuff, but it collects together things from his 2 studio albums as well as his 1 live album, at least the early on stuff pre-2010, because he's since put out an album after that. And of course, that's not on here. I hope eventually we sort of get a greatest hits, which will compile everything, maybe after he puts out 1 more album or something like that. Don't know if we'll get it, being the age he is, but have heard that the Rolling Stones are working on brand new material. So I would take a brand new Rolling Stones album over a new Keith Richards solo album any day of the week. Hopefully we are going to see that soon. All right, and then I ordered one from Amazon Marketplace, a used one, and that is George Thurgood and the Destroyers, Haircut from 1993. This was actually my first George Thurgood album that I picked up, simply from hearing the song Get a Haircut on the radio at the time. Fell in love with this album. Don't know where, but somewhere along the way I sold it like an idiot. This is why I don't get rid of anything any longer. I had to buy this back, but I picked it up for $3.99 off of Amazon Marketplace. So not a bad deal to be able to get a hold of that. And it was their 9th studio album at the time. Just solid music all the way through. The greatest hits came out in 1992, so it just missed having the song Get a Haircut on it, which to me was sort of their last big radio hit. All right, and then I picked up one catalog album. That just means it's an album that's an older album that's still in print, and it is George Thurgood and the Destroyers. Also, The Dirty Dozen from 2009. I had a promo copy of this. It was a burned copy, was not one here with the full artwork and everything. Unfortunately, though, no booklet. I was a little bummed when I ordered it and found out that it came in a cardboard packaging with no booklet. I had a promo copy that was in a jewel case. It's just that it didn't have the full art. I was expecting a lot more, but hey, at least I've got an original version of this now. And so this one here, The Dirty Dozen, 14th studio album, was an interesting one because it had 6 new songs and then 6 older songs that were out of print, or still out of print really. And when it just happened to be that first track on side 2, Howlin' for My Baby, is also the second cut off of Haircut. So getting these two things back to back was kind of surreal, being the connection that they have when one of them's from 1993 and the other one's from 2009. You know, this one being the album that is out of print, which is why I had to get it used. Very cool though that it still came with the green case because of the inlay tray, because that's how it came. I actually thought it wouldn't come that way. It probably would have broken by now. A lot of times it's hard to get CDs that come with those things still, especially if you remember them from back in the day. You want them now. Not always a big deal if you didn't know it came with it in the first place, but I did, and luckily I got it as part of that. And so there you go. That's 8 new music finds for me as part of episode number 59. Now, I have done a full review for the brand new Red Hot Chili Peppers album. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and I will also leave a link to the record store experience for Academy Records if you want to check that out. And I guess I'll go ahead and throw in there my review of the brand new Skid Row song, The Gang's All Here, a little coverage of everything we talked about here today if you want to explore something else. All right, everyone, have a good day, take care, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.